All right, let's talk about something that's happening all around us, but is almost completely hidden from view. We're going to pull back the curtain on the technology that is totally changing the way we shop. This is all based on a new report from Zebra Technologies and Oxford Economics, and it reveals an invisible revolution happening in retail right under our noses. You know the feeling, right? We have all been there. You make a special trip to the store for that one thing you absolutely need, you get to the right aisle, and poof, the shelf is totally empty. It's probably one of the most universal, frustrating shopping experiences there is. But it turns out that empty spot on the shelf, it isn't just bad luck. It's actually the result of a huge, high-stakes battle being fought behind the scenes. And the weapon in that battle is something called intelligent operations. It's really just a way of saying making stores smarter. Think of it as mixing together the best of both worlds. You take cutting-edge tech, we're talking AI, automation, real-time data, and you combine it with the brains and skills of the actual people working in the store. The goal? To make everything just work. And believe me, this isn't just some fancy theory. It has a very real, very direct impact on the bottom line. Retailers who actually nail their inventory management see, on average, 1.8 percentage points of higher revenue growth than their competitors. Now, in the super competitive world of retail, that is a huge advantage. So how's the industry actually doing with all this? Well, you can kind of think of this as their report card. And it's mixed. While most retailers have made some real progress in managing their inventory, there's one area that's a massive problem for almost everyone: loss prevention. A whopping 67% of retailers say they still need to make major improvements there. Okay, so let's dig into that first part, winning the war for the shelf, because really, inventory management is ground zero for this whole revolution. It all comes down to a simple idea: having the right product in the right place at exactly the right time. And when they get it right, the results are pretty amazing. For 68% of retailers, their inventory accuracy just skyrockets. That means employees are spending way less time in the back counting boxes and a lot more time out on the floor, actually helping customers. And all of that leads to the ultimate prize: a 21% average jump in customer satisfaction. So what's the secret sauce? What tech separates the leaders from everyone else? Well, both groups know they need things like mobile computers and RFID readers, those little tags that let you scan a whole box of stuff instantly. But here's the real difference. The leaders are already using predictive analytics. They're not just managing what's happening now, they're using technology to predict the future. This quote from a supply chain director just nails it. It's not about buying some fancy, complicated software that sits in an office. The real magic happens when you put powerful, easy-to-use tools, like a scanner or a tablet with real-time data, right into the hands of the person in the stockroom or on the sales floor. You're empowering them to make smarter decisions right on the spot. And just how big is this opportunity we're talking about? Get this. If just the world's top 20 retailers got their operations fully optimized, the potential revenue increase is nearly $66 billion. That is a staggering amount of money just waiting to be claimed. Now, let's switch gears and talk about that other big battleground, the one where most retailers are still losing the fight. We're talking about combating what the industry calls shrink. That's basically their catch-all term for any kind of loss, whether it's from theft, fraud, or even just stuff going bad or getting damaged. So what's the end game here? I mean, obviously, number one is to reduce all that loss and stop fraud. But what I find really interesting is that a top goal is also to improve the customer's experience. So the challenge is, how do you make a store more secure without making it feel like a fortress that's unpleasant to shop in? And just like with inventory, there's a big technology gap here. The leaders, they're already using things like smart shelving, shelves with built-in sensors that can tell if someone grabs an unusual number of items. And look at this, a third of them are already using AI to spot weird patterns and prevent theft before it even happens. That's a huge leap forward. Okay, so all this tech sounds great. Investing in it seems like a total no-brainer, right? Well, as it turns out, it's not quite that simple. Let's take a look at the real-world challenges and the strategy that goes into these massive investments. And make no mistake, the commitment is real. On average, retailers are pouring a massive 69% of their entire IT budget into automating and improving these workflows. So yeah, this is clearly priority number one for them. But here's the biggest hurdle, the thing that stops so many of them in their tracks. A lot of established retailers are running on ancient digital systems. We're talking about old, clunky platforms that are incredibly difficult and expensive to connect to any modern tech. It's basically like trying to run a brand new iPhone app on a computer from the 90s. It just doesn't work. And this quote just perfectly captures the human side of it all. These aren't small decisions, they're multi-million-dollar gambles. And if you're the person pushing for that big new system and you're worried it might fail, well, that's a huge personal and professional risk. That fear alone can be enough to kill innovation. So, with all those hurdles, what does the future actually look like? Well, to put it in one word, AI. Artificial intelligence is absolutely going to be the engine that drives this next wave of intelligent operations in retail. And look, this isn't some far-off futuristic concept. The numbers on AI adoption are just incredible. Only a tiny 4% of retailers say they have no plans to use it. Everybody else is either already using it, testing it, or planning to jump in within the next year or two. The AI wave isn't coming, it's already here. But, and this is a big but, there's a catch. AI is incredibly powerful, but it's hungry. It needs fuel, and that fuel is data. Lots of high-quality, real-time connected data. So for AI to really work its magic, retailers have to solve that old system problem first. They have to break down the walls between all their different pools of data. So when you boil it all down, what should you take away from this? Well, there are really three big things. First, everything, and I mean everything, starts with having a solid foundation of good connected data. Second, the real success comes from a smart blend of devices and software. And finally, AI isn't the future, it's the present, and it's about to change everything all over again. So the next time you walk into a store and find that one thing you were looking for right there on the shelf, just take a second. Think about that invisible army of scanners, sensors, and algorithms that all had to work together perfectly just to make that one simple moment possible. And what other parts of this invisible revolution will you start to notice?